Actually, that's one of the reasons I like Frontline so much, because basically every other match in Men of War, the way it works is that the early game is really weird. It's like you buy a light vehicle or you buy infantry or something, and it's sort of a cat and mouse game. Whoever gets the drop on the other guy just blows the crap out of him, and he gets a huge advantage. Every once in a while it turns into a real fight. Ha! Another one of those flame things dead. Every once in a while it turns into a real fight, but usually it's a really weird left is lost. Well, that's just fantastic. I'm glad you're telling me these things. But in Frontline, every battle is like a normal battle. There's no like weird, I buy a light vehicle, you buy a light vehicle, and we dance for 5 minutes before we can afford more expensive stuff. It's like, no, it's a full-on fucking assault from the first fucking second. It's like awesome. It's basically recreating that ending scene in Saving Private Ryan from both sides, and also against the Japanese. So I guess, I don't know, Flags of Our Fathers or something. Letters from Iwo Jima. I haven't seen Flags of Our Fathers. I heard it wasn't very good. I don't know. What was... Oh, yeah. So, if you buy a bunch of cheap infantry, sorry, but the tanks were too many. But their tanks were too many, and he spelled their wrong, and he spelled were wrong. And I was going to point it out, and then I was just like, this guy's retarded. So, if you buy cheap infantry and they step on mines, well, you know, I'd rather have cheap infantry in heaven than expensive infantry in heaven. Because certainly the cheap infantry need it more. So that's good. But assaulting is a really dangerous, bloody business, and a lot of the cheap infantry really just going to melt like butter against the defenses that your opponent has had time to set up, and against their superior defensive position. And just look at that fucking M19. That's a U.S. vehicle. The Japanese took it from my ally because he can't even hold on to his own stuff, let alone kill their things. And there's a stupid crate in front of me, and I'm shooting at it, and I'm just going to keep shooting at it for a while because I'm just angry at that M19, and it's in the fog of war. But I don't care. I know where it is. I'm going to keep shooting. I don't know why it's dead. It's because I have to shoot for stuff. Anyways. Shooting through like 8 trees or something. Yeah, track damage. Suck on that, motherfucker. So yeah, heavy infantry are really useful in front lines in assaulting because they actually can power through some of the defenses that submachine gun infantry and riflemen can't. And I know it doesn't sound like elite infantry protect your side now. Alright, thanks buddy, I wasn't protecting my side the entire fucking game. That's kind of my job. What's your job? Protect your side. Could you perhaps help me? Yeah, yeah, it might not sound like assault infantry. I think I just killed the M19. Assault infantry are going to be so much better than submachine gun infantry at just running straight at the enemy and getting killed. But you would be surprised with assault infantry and with paratroopers. It's a combination of their better guns and their armor. You hear that cha-ching? That's my allies out of reinforcements melting into the wind because he blew all his money on a bunch of useless shit. I think he bought a bunch of Shermans, which is not so fantastic in defending. You can see 2 Sherman corpses right now if you look very carefully. It's like an I Spy. Do not buy a bunch of Shermans if you're defending. I mean, honestly, you don't need tanks to defend. You can do it with an AT gun and a couple guys. But yeah, assault infantry, because they have a better gun, and because assault infantry have armor, and because paratroopers, etc., similar elite infantry move faster, that plus their better guns means that typically when they get into a fight with opponents' infantry on defense, they can win the fight that they wouldn't usually win, and they can either get around and flank the infantry or just take the brunt of the fire better than your submachine gun infantry. And when you win, like, you really only need to win like 1 fight, or more accurately, you need to win 1 more fight than your other dudes would. This guy doesn't have any AT grenades. I don't know what he did with all of them, and there's 3 dead people. None of them have AT grenades, so I'm like, I have a perfect chance to sneak up on this tank, but it's not happening. So I'm like, what am I gonna do? There's nothing around. And then I'm like, hey, a truck. I wonder if the truck has dynamite. So now I'm moving in on the truck to see if it has dynamite, and suddenly there's a guy on top of the tank and he shoots me. So that was some fun. But yeah, assaulting a point, it's often a matter of just overcoming the 1 hurdle and getting into a safer position that your opponent was not expecting. I was trying to throw an AT grenade, but that actually runs over 3 of my guys. My ally apparently just realized that he got more cash. That happened like 2 minutes ago when you heard the cha-ching, but who's complaining? I am. Really, it's about overcoming the hurdles. That's a flamethrower tank. I'm not happy about this. Gotta turn my AT gun really fast. He's coming right at me. Boom! Although I do eat some flames. So he also sets the engine on fire of that truck. So things are gonna get really ugly really fast. That's life. So attacking, I guess I can save this for the attacking section, but attacking is all about getting to the right position, getting past the defenses. You can wipe out the defenses is one option, but typically they're gonna be too strong just to kill everybody. It's all about punching through, or like sneaking around, or just getting into a position that you're, I don't know, I don't know what that was. I think his vehicle exploded. or killed my AT gun. The AT gun exploded. All my men died. It's about getting into a position that the defender doesn't have a way to hurt you, because the defender is all about hurting you as you come up on where you're trying to get. And if you can find a way to get where you're going without getting hurt, I say as my ally drives through a building, look at all that stuff on fire. If you can find a way to get where you're going without getting hurt, then the defenders have failed. They haven't inflicted any damage on you. You're in a better position, and eventually you'll get into a position where you achieve parity. You can fight them on your own terms and actually do some damage to them from a superior position, or at least not an inferior position. And so assault infantry and paratroopers and stuff like that, they can aid you in getting to a superior position, because a lot of the times there's just like a little hump to get over to get to that superior position. There's like two guys in a trench, and they're going to shoot you if you try and get to superior position. You got to get around them. So maybe you like chuck some smoke grenades or something, and elite infantry are just one way to surmount a lot of the difficulties people put up. A lot of the difficulties, like, crossfire from infantry that are in windows or something. Elite infantry can just take out that hump that your enemy infantry provide, and then get into those nooks and crannies wherever you're trying to assault. Maybe they'll take a point or something, and they just get you into points that your regular infantry aren't going to get you into. So certainly they are more expensive, and there are things you can do with numbers that you can't do if you have to buy assault infantry instead of submachine gunners. But there's some things you can't do with numbers. There's some things you can only do by winning the fight, like, between two people in a trench, and if the assault infantry always wins that, then, you're going to be able to push through areas you can't always push through. We see as my submachine guns, I send one by one, like they're James Bond enemies, get themselves picked off. I wasn't handling this too well, but corners are a very weird thing to fight around, and oh, look, it's my ally's tank, come to save the day. That's like a 5th Sherman or something. Sherman's actually not useless in defending. They're very nice. It's nice to have a tank that you can reposition, very heavy fire base that can support your infantry and all that stuff, but that's not what my ally's doing. My ally's just buying as many Shermans as he can, and I suspect when he runs out of points for Sherman, he decides to set points, period. And then he just drives them around until they get killed. Thankfully, I have not seen an enemy Sherman so far, but yeah, we are down to our last point in the bottom right, but there are 30 seconds left, so as we have 6,000 points versus our opponent's 1,800, we contemplate the prospect of attacking, which will be my next video on YouTube, and you will have to hold out to see who wins. And that thing is setting a lot of stuff on fire. Now it's all about grabbing points. When it becomes apparent you're not going to take the last point, then just kill as many enemies as you can, because, the more points you get, the better. And just in the very end, my ally loses a Sherman, so that's a crap ton of points to the enemy. Thank you, ally.